I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. I am happy to say we are joined by Fable. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, thanks so much for coming on, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Fable of Fable. I am your cozy comfort snowy owl VTuber. My channel, we will enjoy some art, some romance, some cozy games, and lots of fashion. It's nice to meet you.
Hey, you too. So, are you an artist yourself?
I am. Most of what you see on my channel, with some exceptions, is art that I produced myself.
Oh, cool. Have you always been the artistic type?
Yeah, I graduated from college with a digital art degree.
Whoa.
And I went on to work photography for several years in a studio, and then eventually moved from photography to working in studios with character design. And then after COVID happened, I moved from character design to doing indie work.
A lot of people did that move from whatever job they were doing and then to like DoorDash, stuff like that. It was I got, even in my job, we were reduced down to working 3 days or 4 days a week and still getting paid for 5. I didn't mind that very much. Like, okay, that's fine. 2 extra days.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I'll go for it, even if we couldn't go anywhere. So you got into photography after doing the digital art. What was it something you'd already been interested in, or was it a big difference from what you had been learning?
My degree was a general degree, so there was no specialization, and it was really just about what job I could find the fastest.
Right.
And I had connections in a photography studio. I love working with people. The bottom line, whatever I do, wherever I go, I love making people's visions come to life, and that's always what I endeavor to do, whether it's photography, art, VTubing, wherever I can make it happen.
You know, there's a lot of people who have a trouble with that because they have a hard time working to someone else's standards.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily their vision, but it sounds like you have no problem with that at all.
Years of experience, I have learned to adjust to people's flow pretty well. There's always a learning curve. Different people do have different standards, and meeting them where they are sometimes takes a little bit before you get off the ground, especially on the internet when cultures come from all over the place and everybody has a different idea of how workflows should move.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Some folks are like beyond strict with, deadlines and that sort of thing. And some folks say, yeah, just, whenever you have it ready, that's, as long as you do it's a progress, that sort of thing. It is a big difference, but, would you rather do something for somebody else or use your own vision for it?
So I have my personal projects, and then I also have my projects that I do for other people, and the two kind of intermingle. If I run into a place in a project for someone else that I don't feel like I can achieve whatever I'm working on, I bring it into my personal projects, and I try to achieve it with my personal projects, and then circle back around to their projects. So they kind of go hand in hand. I learn the skills with my projects, and then I bring it to my clients.
Ah, good. Well, see that this is great because it's obviously something you enjoy doing, and
Absolutely.
and not only do you get a chance to do what you enjoy, but you get to make other people happy as well with it.
Yeah, it's always the goal.
Yeah, and maybe make a little money on the side with it.
Oh, yeah.
With it too. Are you doing any type of commission work?
Right now, I am working with 3 different VTubers at different stages of making their models. I do both art and rigging. So one character I have in the character design stage, one character is in the rigging stage, and then one character is in the art stage with a very prolific design, three different outfits.
Good gravy.
On top of that, I fill in the blanks with VTuber management work, and then also I do illustration work, which illustration is far simpler. It takes like a day to knock out illustration.
Yeah, illustration is a little different than a working moving model.
Yeah,
It
thankfully.
yeah. Well, I mean, you have to like it if you're doing that much stuff. It's
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
I
and
devote my life to it.
yeah, that's really something having all those projects going at once. How do you keep them separated, or do you keep them separated?
Well, I do have workflows. I have organizational tools that I use on my end, and I have a rolling notification system to make sure that I touch base with all of my clients and make sure they're happy with the workflow and the deadline. I'm also very selective about my clients.
Mm,
I used to work for just anyone who would approach me, but now I'm a little bit more before I bring a client on, I do interview them a little bit and see like what they're comfortable with and how that would work. Um, and then I usually, when I'm not doing like a stream marathon, I will divide out my day. So the morning is clerical work, and then in the evening is more of the studio work.
I understand that. Yeah, I was just smiling when you said you interview the folks that want to work with you because in radio we just took wherever the money was.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like here's $5 to do a commercial for a hypnotist. I'm like, yep, that's give me that $5.
Well, it's more so that I can understand like what their end goal is, what their expectations are, and if it would be a good fit. Because the last thing I would want is to take someone on who they have expectations that I can't fulfill, and then
Yeah.
3 months later, we're in a situation where they're like, "This artist completely failed me," and I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Yeah, I misunderstood the scope."
yeah. I don't think people when folks I've talked to, I don't think they factor that in enough to their decisions. Yeah, I see folks online who have problems like you just described, and I feel bad for them, but I also have this feeling that they didn't do any due diligence before getting involved with the client.
A lot of the artists that you see online, they don't have any formal business training.
Yeah.
They just pick up their pen and they go, which ideally would work.
Hmm.
But when you have business training, you learn about how severe those pitfalls are.
Hmm.
And I think it's important that we educate our artists what it actually means to take on clients and those things to watch out for when working with clients. Because at the end of the day, we do this for the love of the game, but also we want to make ourselves look professional. And in the Wild West, that is VTuber business, those standards are not always clear.
No, they're not. And since it's not really a face-to-face business transaction like this, it's you don't know from looking at someone what. Sometimes you can get a feeling in the same room with somebody how things are going to go. It's a little tougher when you're either just gabbing with them on the net or emailing and trying to get something across that way. I imagine.
Yeah, yeah. Having been both at cons in person and dealing with people online, it's so different when you meet someone face to face and you learn what they're actually about.
Mm,
And having that level of face to face communication changes the game.
mm. Oh, absolutely. And I think you'd get a much better idea. Um, Someone can sound really confident on just by voice, but then you look at them and they're saying it while they're cowering away from you, wanting to run away. Um, it's one of the things that is interesting to me about the VTubing is that a lot of people get to project kind of the personality and the social actions, I guess is better to say, that they can't really do in person to person, in person type of interactions. Um,
I totally agree with you.
yeah,
Um,
and
I
yeah, go ahead.
I am somebody who's incredibly soft spoken, and a lot of my life, it was not about what I could say, it's about what I could do. And then, of course, I work for all of my clients, but I also have my personal brand.
Hmm.
And putting myself in front of the mic, VTubing has taught me the amount of personal power that I hold.
Mm, that's interesting. I don't think I've heard anybody say it that way. What do you mean by personal power?
Prior to putting a mic in front of me, because I've been not VTubing, but I've been live streaming for over 10 years.
Hmm.
Um, Prior to putting a mic in front of me, I always found myself in rooms where even when I tried to project, I was overshadowed.
Mm.
And I got it in my head as a teen that that was because the things that I had to say were not meaningful or important, right? I was very insecure about it.
I could see that. Yeah.
But then I started going live and I do kind of a podcast stream and I try to keep talking the entire stream and I'll talk about whatever comes to mind. And I found that people were coming in and really resonating
Mm.
with the things that I had to say. And at first, it was a mind blowing experience
Mm.
because I'd never had that amount of projection in any of my interactions. So, learning how powerful my voice actually was and the influence that I had in those spaces was something that I think was so beneficial to my confidence and to my personality and has shaped who I am today.
Oh, I think so. In listening to your voice, I've watched the stream and just talking to you here, your voice isn't an overpowering one, which is actually really good for this sort of thing, I think, because you're not having to put out a whole lot of effort to say what you need to say. And that is, in listening to it, that makes the person comfortable with it. It's you're still very, very clear with what you want to say, but you're not, hitting somebody with a sledgehammer while you're saying it. You kind
I
of,
would hope that no VTuber is doing that, but I understand what you mean.
yeah. I mean, it's very tough for someone to develop that later. Um, sometimes sometimes that's just how they are. But when you have someone whose voice is, um, I'll say you don't have any sharp edges on your voice, um, which is wonderful. And
Oh,
that
thank you.
and that that's tough to teach somebody. Um, I mean, did you find once you got the microphone going that you actually kind of enjoyed talking with folks in that way?
That was the most mind-blowing thing about it, was learning how much of a conversationalist I actually was
Mm.
and how much I enjoyed talking with people. And the craziest thing about all of it is I started live streaming by accident.
Mm.
I didn't think it was going to become like anything, but I did my first live stream back on Gaia Online forums,
Whoa.
like the back alley most website you could possibly think of, and I did like one live stream and somebody sent me a letter and they said, I wanted to let you know that you have the most comforting voice I have ever heard.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. But then the more that I kept doing live streaming, the more letters like that I got, to the point where I was like, well, I'm just going to do this now. People seem to like it.
And you twist my arm. But it's having that type of an instrument. I'll use that word. Um, and being able to recognize that you do have that instrument and know how to use it are two different things. Once you kind of realize that you were to use your own word, resonating with people, um, did that make it more comfortable for you, or did you kind of get a little self conscious of how you were doing things at that point?
Trying to think of a good way to answer this question because pretty immediately after I started live streaming as a teenager,
Mhm.
and I pretty quickly ran into the scary side of the internet.
Yeah.
Um, Especially with my voice being hyper feminine.
Hmm.
Uh, and it was spooky because I didn't know how to deal with it back then, but most of the people who watched my streams were my friends, and they were amazed because they almost never heard me talk before. And I think that support and having people behind me and knowing that live streaming wasn't just me with a mic, it was a community.
Yeah,
It gave me the strength to keep going.
yeah. It's just it's a sort of a justification for some folks, where when somebody they don't necessarily know starts coming back, and you get that idea in your head that, hey, people really do want to hear what I have to say, or at least be with me while I'm doing things. Um,
Mhm.
when you got that feeling, how did that strike you?
Um, in terms of like self-confidence,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, real
I think
yeah. People were coming
it,
for you, not necessarily what was going on, but you and your personality.
yeah, I mean, I think it made my voice louder in the rooms where there was no mic. It gave me that strength to be like, hey, I do demand attention in the room, or I should at least be demanding attention in the room, because the things that I have to say are important and kind of shake that teenage awkwardness I used to have,
Yeah.
um, about expressing my ideas and thoughts, and knowing that uh, my friends never disliked me; they just could never hear me.
Whoa, they talk. Now they won't shut up.
I know.
Hey,
Can't get the mic away from me.
once the can is opened, it's pretty tough. Uh, so now, do you feel like you've changed as a person because of this?
Yeah, it is absolutely integral. And the thing is that my journey and learning about my voice and what I have had to go through to be a content creator has inspired me to work with others
Hmm.
and to raise others up and give them a chance to speak. It was such a life-changing thing for me. I was like, how could I keep this to myself?
Yeah.
Which is why I delved so heavily into the world of content creator management
Hmm.
and our assets and ways that we can speak to one another.
See, now that says a lot about you as a person too. I mean, you didn't want to just keep it to yourself. You wanted to share with other people and help them. It was such a transitional thing for you. I'm trying to put I'm putting words in your mouth. Tell me if I'm wrong. But it's
No,
such
no, you're right.
it's such a transitional moment for you. You like others to have that same experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will, because I feel like I've met so many other people with a story similar to mine, and how they started out really insecure and unsure of themselves. And I'm like, okay, let me put a mic in front of you and let's just start talking, right? Let's just get those ideas out there and see where it goes. And the way that you watch someone bloom and blossom just from that singular experience, it's something that brings me to tears sometimes,
Yeah.
because that level of inspiration and knowing that they had that personal power the entire time but just never knew it. um God, it just, like, even now I'm getting choked up and
Yeah.
lost for words.
Well, it's something else, isn't it? Because that happens on these interviews on occasion, where I know I'm talking to someone who is really nervous when they start off, and then by the end, they're relaxed, they're more natural with it. There's no forced emotions behind what they're saying, which
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they open up.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
yeah. It's when you can break down one on one with a person, break those walls down a little bit, and get to the the actual person inside. It makes such a big difference. And I can tell you, from all the years that I've done interviews, talking with people, when you realize that's going on, um, you have to treasure that, and you also, as the person doing the interview, you have to make sure that you don't damage that trust that they've developed.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, you don't want to throw them under the bus for something
Yeah.
after you've done it. It's not only is it not a good look, but it's evil to do that. Um,
Yeah,
and and
agreed.
and you're seeing a different side of folks here. You got started on helping manage VTubers. Now, you mentioned how you got started with it. How is that going now? As far as how many clients do you have as a manager?
So, the way that I work right now, I sort of work with a few groups
Hmm.
that I can't disclose is exactly how many clients that I have.
Ah,
But what I can tell you is that I do touch base with a lot of different creators,
mm,
and my job is to ensure that they have all the resources that they need when they are feeling like they aren't getting traction, to strategize,
mhm,
to give them content ideas to support their content, and then also as an artist, I can do things like develop marketing tools for them, develop thumbnails, things that I know that will bring audiences in.
mhm.
I haven't done indie management work yet, but next month I will start doing indie management
Mm.
open for application. And I'm waiting until next month to do that because I have been working with some peers to develop a content strategy kit. So
Ah,
that way, when I do take on a client, I can use the tools that I already have and I'm already using in spaces that I can't talk about.
right.
Um, and I can hit the ground running and feel out, whatever client that I might be working with and make sure that their content develops the way that they want it to.
That's cool. I like that. You mentioned marketing, and when I say that, I kind of almost hear the other person try to hang up on me when I'm doing it sometimes. But marketing doesn't have to be, wearing a loud suit and knocking on somebody's door trying to sell a vacuum cleaner. It's finding your audience. It's finding a new audience. It's bringing people in, and then it's strategy to keep them. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's not quite the same as what we did in radio, but there
Right.
are some similarities still. You still are looking for the audience, except I look at VTubers, and in radio we had a finite audience of radio listeners, and we had several stations cutting up that pie. There's no pie to cut up for VTubers. The
Mhm.
audience hasn't fulfilled yet. There's still millions of people who would enjoy it and haven't gotten to know it
Mhm.
yet. So, you're not really competing against anybody. I think, yeah, I think you're more just trying to get the best out of yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part of VTubing is how many peers that you have and how beneficial it is for VTubers to
Mm,
work with one another.
yeah.
Um, we do share a very large community, but also each individual person and their personality brings in new people.
Mhm.
And over time, you find yourself in a position where it's not just about marketing yourself as a VTuber. It's about marketing yourself as who you are,
Mm,
right? The
right.
VTuber model, it does serve its purpose, but it's mostly just about making a place where you feel comfortable and making the content that you want to bring to your people.
Yeah. It's still very much a the I'm not going to insult you as an artist, but anyway, by saying this, but I think it's still very much a audio and personality driven field.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
someone can have a wonderful model that looks practically human and sound like, wet cardboard, and people aren't going to stick around for that. And you still have to have that something that'll hook somebody in and keep them. Whether it's you resonate with your audience in one manner or another to bring them back. Um, I could find 1,000 people playing Minecraft. I'm coming back to the person who I enjoyed watching play Minecraft. Um, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah. That personality is at home.
yeah, yeah. So, with for you, when is it tough for you to when you have somebody that you're wanting to help who doesn't necessarily catch the drift? Um, Someone who isn't used to any type of a marketing type thing. They came in as a hobby, but they have a lot of potential. You see that
Mhm.
potential in them. Is it tough for you to work with them?
So there's a lot of misconceptions in the VTuber community about what actually attributes growth.
Hmm.
And I have had a lot of conversations with colleagues about trusted resources out there that are giving out information that is actively harming VTubers. For example, any advice you ever receive that says you need to stop putting content out on any platform, generally speaking, is bad advice. The more width you can give yourself, the better you are. And I can understand it from the perspective of like, put your resources where you are. But if you're making shorts for one platform, why wouldn't you just put it somewhere else? So sometimes people come in and they have this idea of what is going to get them growth, what it is that is going to get them to A to B. And there's a little bit of adjustment that needs to happen there, because VTubing isn't about like, how do I make you profitable? It's about, how do I grow your network?
Right.
How do I make it so that people know who you are?
Right.
And that's part of the reason why I love this work so much, is that it's never singular. Your net worth is your network, right?
Right.
How many people you know, who you're interacting with, and opening yourself up. So it isn't all about you. It's about how you immerse yourself in the world.
Yeah. And everybody has a different way to do that, or different reasoning why they're doing these. Some folks are going to be once a week and it's a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are going to be every day, twice a day, and try to wring out as much as they can. Which, if you can do that, God bless you. You have a lot more endurance than I do.
Yeah.
But you can't lose the baby with the bathwater here. You don't want to dilute yourself in your work and spread yourself too thin.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I do want to caveat and say there's nothing wrong with hobbyists.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with hobbyists. And I love that hobbyist VTubers exist. But when I talk about my management work and when I talk about clients that hire me, usually these people are trying to make a profit. And at the point when you're making a profit, I don't really consider that hobbyist anymore. So I can't say that I actually work with many hobbyists.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get into that point and you want the marketing done, you're not a hobbyist anymore, as far as I know. I mean, you can say it's a hobby, but you're trying to advance and get into going from the amateur ranks to the pro ranks in a way. And that's a whole different thing. Have you ever had a potential client and you don't see it in them? You don't see the it in them.
That's tough. The best way for me to answer this is that it's usually never the person. It's usually that the audience just isn't there. There are some niches that, unfortunately, it doesn't matter how hard you throw yourself against the wall, there's only 30 people watching that specific category on Twitch. It's just, I can help you find your people. I can connect you to that, but the amount of people that market has, that community has, might not be profitable. And if I'm not making my client some kind of gain, I'm not really doing my job. So when it does come to that, when we do get to that point, the question then becomes like, okay, what other goals can I assist you in?
Yeah. It happened that way in college when I was doing the radio stuff in college. We had some folks who just didn't have the it. Their voice wasn't good. Their presentation wasn't good. And I'm like, you're paying a lot of money to be here, but you're not ever going to get a job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man. I mean, I feel bad for them, and I'm not good. I'm like, why did you take their money? Someone
but
needs.
Thankfully, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Thankfully, we live in a day and age where there is a lot of technology to fix things like a voice that might be unpleasant. The only caveat is if they can't afford the equipment.
Right.
There is a high barrier of entry when it comes to equipment, but there's a lot of things with VTubing that we can work around. There's a lot of things that we can accomplish. It's just, gosh, like five different things just popped up in my head of ways that clients can go wrong, like ways that the thought process could go wrong. I
My
mean,
brain hurts.
um, I know. I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like, well, there's also if they do like a hot take and it doesn't go well,
Yeah.
and then they navigate that poorly, or if they find themselves on a large platform and they say something that wasn't graceful,
Mhm.
right? And how to handle that. So I think the ways that you can fail in VTubing is never really what you expect.
Oh, no. And again, in the end, it all comes down to what the audience wants and thinks of you.
Hmm.
If you and you don't
Hmm.
have to really do anything, and certainly not purposefully, to have something. I mean, you mentioned like a hot take, a medium lukewarm take sometimes will
Yeah.
explode. Um, you have to be a little more savvy with that, and being and a 19-year-old person getting trying to do this. Savvy isn't a word they're going to use very often. and
Hmm.
it's very tough because I would imagine there's times when you have to you know ask people to rein it in a little bit. Um, there's there's going to be some folks who take to it and their head gets a little big and their mouth gets out before their head, and you kind of do you see them careening towards a bad end when that happens?
I think one of the messages I would love to get out to the VTubing community is that when you post on your Twitter, when you post on your socials, when you say that thing on stream, those sponsorships that you're really wanting to work on, they see that.
Mm.
They always see it. You are constantly putting yourself in front of them, and that's intimidating. And there's a lot of things that are forgivable, but everything matters.
Yeah.
Like everything matters.
Mm.
And there is a lot of times that as a manager you kind of have to look at that and you have to be like, okay, um you can produce that specific edge content if you want, but these are the opportunities it's going to take away from you.
Right.
And if we're going to go in that direction, we have to plan on going in that direction without these opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. If sometimes that 10, 15 seconds of holding your breath can save a lot of damage
Mhm.
being done. Uh,
Mhm.
I know my wife tells me I should hold my breath all the time, but it's is a lot to do with it, and still you don't have the safety net when you're on live as opposed to a recording. I do all my stuff recorded because um, I don't always trust myself to say the right things sometimes. And being an old man, maybe I'll mispronounce somebody or something like that, and I don't want that to happen. And I will apologize and fix it and go on from there. But when you're live, you don't have that safety net.
Mhm.
Um, it,
Yeah, um and there are moments where you slip up and you make a mistake. And I do like to think that people are more forgiving
mhm,
for live streamers
yeah,
because YouTubers are more tailored.
hmm
There is a higher expectation.
yeah, yeah. Now you're on practically every platform there is. I mean, I think if I turn on the microwave, you're going to be on the microwave at this point. Um, is that
Yeah,
intentional?
yeah.
Is that what you've done for yourself as far as creating a marketplace for yourself?
So I work with a few different content creator communities. I work with Infold, I work with Hoyoverse, I work with quite a handful of different video game studios.
Right.
And generally speaking, the thing that they encourage when you work with those studios is a wide net.
Mm,
They want you to get your content in front of as many platforms as possible.
Right.
I've never been in a program or worked with a company that didn't want that very large breadth. So that is part of the reason why I stretched myself as thin as I did. But also, I wouldn't say thin. I mean, it's manageable.
Yeah.
But it it's also because what I do, as I said, is always a portfolio for
Mm,
what I can do for others.
right.
And if I try something and it's not successful, that's on me. I don't have to give that to my client.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's a good idea. That's really that's showing some kidneys in your head there to do something like that. I mean, that's beyond the pale, and I'm sure you realize that not a lot of people look at it that way. Certainly not naturally. Uh, and so
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
It's a level of research. When when somebody hires you to do, especially management job, which is so political in nature,
Hmm.
you want to make sure that you give them advice and you give them a strategy that actually works for them.
Hmm.
And I never want to give my client a strategy that I haven't tried or haven't seen work myself.
Mm. That's the best way to do it. I mean, you're going from experience there, and you can tell them the highs and lows and the pitfalls to avoid from the you know from the middle of the field instead of the box seats. That does make it
The
a
idea.
lot of difference. Now, in dealing with the game companies, and trying to get their exposure, um, if you had in the experiences that you've had, are these video game companies now getting warmer to the idea of the let's plays and the VTubers doing their thing? Because there was a while there was almost a antagonistic thing between video game developers and streamers.
I need VTubers to realize how important they look to video game companies.
Mm,
How important VTubers are to the gaming space and how we, along with not just VTubers, but content creators in general, we influence the very marketing community that these gaming studios want to represent. I
mm,
work with gaming studios that are both AAA and also indie studios.
mm,
And when they come to content creators, they're coming to content creators because you're not only hand delivering them an audience, but you're also delivering a review for them. You're showing people the game and you're making them want to play it.
right, exactly. Exactly. I can count a lot of games where when I've watched a VTuber or streamer or YouTube person play it, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that game. And went and
Hmm.
saved up enough money to get it. But it's that type of thing for the video game, especially the indie developers, is gold for them.
Hmm.
Is it easy for you to convince them of that, or does it take a little while to convince them sometimes?
Trying to wrap my head around the words. Um, there's a lot of NDA stuff that I can't bring
Right,
up. But what
right,
I can bring up is that the world is a lot more number driven
right.
than people might think. And
Hmm.
it's sometimes harsh, and I would even use the word cutthroat
Hmm.
in its execution.
Right.
Um, you can be well meaning and you can put out content that is reflective of like your heart and your personality. But a marketing team, especially for a AAA title, indie studios, I would rather work with an indie studio any day.
Hmm.
But when you have that marketing team, they care about numbers,
Right.
period.
Oh, absolutely.
and,
That's what the way it was in the
and
radio business too. That's
oh yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah, business people, they want a specific number, and it doesn't always make you feel valuable as a content creator,
Right.
but getting to work with video game studios in general and working with something that you love, to me, is payment in itself.
Hmm.
Um, Not to say that there, there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah. Oh, there is, and I can tell you on the radio side, which is a little tangential, but still has the marketing part to it. If you go on the radio and you're in a market that has ratings, and there is a national advertiser, uh, they will not care what you're doing as far as actually going on and doing something, unless you've obviously being a jerk on the air. They care about the number of people that are listening to you because
Hmm.
they they just first of all they don't have the time to do that because they're advertising on so many different stations. And secondly, it's all
Hmm.
numbers driven, like you said. It's the
Hmm.
audience that what is your reach? And if
Hmm.
you don't have a big reach, then
Correct.
they're not going to spend any money or time on you. It's nothing personal.
Mhm.
And
It's a
and
business.
yeah, and you have to develop a bit of a shell for that because um, in radio it costs you your job sometimes.
Hmm.
In VTubing, it costs you opportunities.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep VTubing. You can throw thousands of dollars a year at VTubing and do whatever you want. Um, but if you're trying to get that successful route, like you're directing people into, you have to make those steps. And I think I get this idea that not only do you see it that way, but you are very convinced and confident that you can point these folks in the right direction.
Hmm.
Um, that's that says a lot. I mean, having, as you know now, having that that confidence in what you're doing makes it that much easier for people to believe and start working the same way. Have you
Hmm.
have you always had that confidence in yourself?
No, definitely not.
No.
I've lived a very interesting life,
Mm-hmm.
and stepping into my power was a very, very long journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm proud of what I've been through, how I've grown, how it's changed me, and I'm glad that I am here the way that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There's
I
still
lost my train of thought.
I'm I'm trying to catch that train. Um, it still catches you between the eyes though every once in a while, doesn't it? I mean, a little off
Oh
guard,
yeah.
something will hit you like, oh, you're always going to stumble a little bit one way or another. Um,
Oh yeah. My thing is that I always think that I'm like so cool and so suave, and then I meet a giant creator, and I can't get the air out of my lungs to speak at all because I'm just so starstruck.
that happens. That happens. If you're doing interviews, sooner or later you're going to have run across somebody who you just can't talk to, and I've had that happen a couple of times. Someone that I've
Hmm.
watched in sports my entire life, and they're like a Hall of Famer and this, that, and the other thing, and I just like somebody else needs to do this interview. Um, but mostly, and I hope people realize this, that even at everybody that is doing this VTubing, except for a couple of AI folks, um, there is a person behind it eventually.
Hmm.
Do you have something that you'd like to tell the audience about VTubers? Um,
About VTubers?
yeah.
Uh, go to a VTubing convention.
Mm,
Go to uh a place where you find peers in person. Do it just once. Go out of your shell just once and meet them in person.
mm,
It will change the way that you see it, and you realize how important this medium is.
mm,
Um, because these people come alive when
mm.
they find their peers in person, in the flesh.
Right.
They come alive and they love to talk about it. They love to interact with it in a way that is so beautifully human without the screen. And it's sometimes so bright and beautiful when it's in person. I do love the VTubing sphere, like the onlineness of it. Um, but these people are so full of life and so full of things that they want to accomplish and the stories that they want to tell.
Mhm.
And I have been in many a conversation where I have been asked, why VTubing? Why do you hide? And that's the term that they use. Why do you hide behind a VTuber character?
Uh-huh.
For me, it is about first of all, it's an exhibition of my own art and my own rigging. I do
Absolutely.
art and animations,
Yes.
so it's that exhibition. But also, it is an expression of um, it's an expression of myself in a way that I could never truly communicate outside of the medium.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when people see my VTuber model, they understand a lot about me without ever talking about me, which is what it's supposed to serve,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You can't exactly be that articulate with your design choices IRL unless you're like a god tier cosplayer. Um and I don't think that that answer is unique. I think that answer goes for a lot of the VTubers out there. Whether or not they have that artistic ability, they're sitting there, they're designing their persona, they're making something that reflects them in a way that they couldn't articulate without that medium.
Oh yeah, they're creating. I liken it sometimes to people going from a a high school to a college, where you're still the same person, but now most of your past is erased with the people you're going to meet. They're not going to know or remember that you bent over one time in third grade and your pants ripped. Uh,
Yeah.
the people in high school are going to remember, but now you've reset the world for you and your character. You set your own lore, you
Mhm.
set your own backstory. You come in as whoever you want to be, and you have more control over that. Um, is that what you're kind of looking at? Is for people to take a little more control over that sort of thing, that
That's an
power?
interesting way of putting it because I actually had not considered it from that perspective.
Hmm.
That it is kind of a way for us to start over. A lot of the people that I talk to about, especially my clients, the clients that tend to gravitate towards me and likewise me to them,
Hmm.
are people who write characters for like Dungeons and Dragons I've never played D&D,
Yeah,
but they write for these campaigns,
right.
they write for these stories, and they want to see their character living and breathing, and they want to be the person behind the character. There's of course exceptions to that. There's people who just want pretty model,
Yeah,
and that's fine too.
yeah,
Um, but VTubing gives you the space to explore these high fantasy ideas without damaging yourself, kind of what you were talking about,
yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you don't have to worry about the stigma behind your flesh and blood. You can just be this character that you have related to in such a deep, meaningful way.
When you see somebody blossoming into the personality that they actually have maybe some sort of personality that they haven't been able to show in person. How does
Mhm.
that strike you as both a content creator and a person behind the scenes?
It's the reason for the job. I mean, it's why I'm here. It's what I want to do for people. I want to show them a part of themselves that is so powerful and so important that they never even knew.
Mm.
And content creation brings that out of people because you put yourself in a place where, I mean, even the marketing of content creation, right? When you're marketing content creation, you're marketing what it is about you that makes people want to stop and stare, like in a good way, in the way that you choose. Um, you're putting yourself out in this vulnerability somewhat, and you are pushing forward the things that in a lot of ways it makes you feel incredibly important,
Mhm.
but that's undermining a little bit of what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that they blossom and they find things about themselves that they never knew were important is a better way of putting it.
Oh yeah, that to as you might kind of I like to if someone has got a song cover, I want to put that on and show it to people because you know this as an artist being able and enjoying your art yourself is one thing. Showing it to somebody else is a whole different hurdle and takes mountain climbing sometimes to have that kind of confidence to do that. And I like
Mhm.
to say, "Hey, look, this is good stuff. Let's show people."
Oh
Let's
yeah.
yeah. It makes me feel good that people are getting a chance to um, have an audience that they normally would have. The VTuber industry is all of that. Your
Mhm.
potential audience is 95% of the world.
Hmm.
And while if you have ever did get that much, the internet would explode. Um,
Oh God, yeah.
yeah, you better have a pretty good computer. Um, the potential is still there, and those are people you would never have gotten any contact with had this not exist. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, having somebody sitting upside down on the other side of the planet uh, interacting with you is pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely. I made so many of my best friends from VTubing,
Yeah.
and finding like-minded people. I mean, we've all heard the story 1,000 times. You meet people online, and they become like the best people you've ever known in your life,
Yeah.
making those connections that you never would have made
Yeah.
outside of the sphere of the internet.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I got to say this about you when you get going and talking about what you enjoy about what you're doing, it resonates as so honest and true that I can't imagine people not wanting to hear more about what you can do for folks. Um, that's one of those things you don't teach, and it comes along,
Thank you.
and it's really something because I can hear your excitement um,
Mhm.
when you talk about it. That's a very endearing quality, and in a way that will draw people to you. That's kind of a natural magnetism that I think is going to
Thank you.
continue for you, and people will listen to what you have to say because you've been there and done
Thank you.
that, and you have that drive to help other people so much. That's pretty amazing. That's quite a triumph for you.
Thank you. It's a high compliment. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I think my sincerity is one of the best things about me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It just don't be too sincere, okay?
I know. Like anything, the honesty comes with its own dose of like maybe we shouldn't say that.
Please keep some of the mystery. I didn't want to. I didn't want to see how hot dogs are made. I just want to eat them. Okay.
Well, I don't offer this information to everyone,
Mm,
but I do think that um because I 90% of the content that I publish online is about my personal brand and it isn't about strategy or marketing or anything like that.
right.
Um but as you have noticed, it is something that I'm very excited to talk about because I do endeavor to raise my peers up and give them the platform that they might never have had before.
Yeah. You know, you should be proud of that. I hope you are, because
I am
that's
very much
a
so.
that's a that's a hell of an accomplishment. Um, to be comfortable in that and be confident enough to share that with other people successfully. Um, Folks, we're going to have all of the links in the description for the video. It might be one of the longer descriptions we've had. You turn on your car radio and you're going to hear them. But that's all part of what makes you tick. I think is the fact that you seem to be indefatigable. Um, that you see something and you're not going to be intimidated by it. You're going to work through it. That's a good thing to
Mhm.
pass along to some folks because we need that. So we need you. So you have to keep going. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Always.
Thank you so much for coming on. Just an absolute pleasure. And I hope we can
Yeah,
do
it
it.
was
We can do it
wonderful talking
again.
to you.
Yeah. And again, check out those links. You got to find out what's going on with the Snow Fable. As you heard, just an amazing person. Thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.